In Summers County, folks came out to Pipestem Resort State Park to enjoy the day. Our Austin Harmon shows us and learns a little bit about nature's little pollinators.
Oftentimes when we think of bees or hummingbirds, we think of them as little workers in overdrive, flying and buzzing around, working to keep the flora in your backyard prospering. However, some residents came out to Pipestem Resort State Park in Summers County Saturday to learn a little bit more about nature's pollinators. Here, presentations were given on different pollinators in the area and the importance their roles play.
In West Virginia, we have one of the most ecologically diverse ecosystems in the world.
And one of those creatures that is part of that ecosystem is the honeybee. Michael Tatum spoke on the striped insects, as he has several years of experience handling them as a beekeeper. He provides tips and advice to those interested in beekeeping or simply wanting to educate themselves about these stronger pollinators. Tatum, who has a family history of keeping honeybees, says that he attends events like this to inform the public.
My grandpa did the same thing. He would do seminars and things like that where people just wanted to know about them.
Coming from a line of beekeeping, Tatum says that he feels it is vital for people to attend events like these, so people not only learn about the different creatures that pollinate, but to resonate the importance of why we need them.
It matters what's pollinated. Without them, we don't eat.
Here for you in Summers County, Austin Harmon, WVVA News.
Thanks for that report, Austin. And while this event has ended, organizers expressed that they hope to have another event like this again next year.